Welcome back to another episode of Polaris Talks. We are at number 20 this time, and we have lots to share with you. So many shows. We were fully actively going to shows and seeing things. So yeah, definitely.
Season has started.
I think you were the first one to go out. So how about starting about what was it, Beartooth? And supports.
Yes. Yes, well, I went to the 013 in Tilburg, of the 013. Great venue, I think, especially the main hall. I love it. It's I don't know, it's quite, how do you say it, a broad stage. There's a lot of space for bands. And there's always a photo pit, which I sometimes appreciate very much. And this evening there was Beartooth, Polaris, and Landmvrks from France. Polaris are, I believe, from Australia. And Beartooth, I think UK, not sure. Sometimes it doesn't matter where they come from, as long as they kick ass on stage, you know. And that is exactly what they did. It's also why I wanted to see them. I'm not the biggest metalcore fan, so I always just go to these gigs and just enjoy myself, or I don't. I have no clue about technical stuff within metalcore, so if I say wrong things with all the genres within the metalcore. But Beartooth, I read they were one of those bands that are something you have to see, that they have a big show. So I thought, yeah, let's go. And it is exactly what you got. I think, and I will skip to the support acts later, but I went to see Beartooth. So it started off with confetti. I mean, the very first.
Why starting? Like usually that comes towards the end, or
yes.
Okay.
Yes. But this was like boof, and then it started. And we had to wait at the side before going into the photo pit because, well. And I think that was exactly what Beartooth was saying, like, you know, we will party from the first second. And it's what they did. There was a lot of confetti and fireworks and energy.
Oh, I feel sorry for the people to clean up after that.
There was a lot of confetti. I think halfway during the set, their singer, Caleb Somo, he played a more timid song, and he walked. Well, actually, the drums gave a little bit of solo, and then the guitars joined, and then the band was playing, and he was missing. I was like, oh, maybe he's doing one of those clothing swaps, because it's a little bit like, for me, I have to think about it. It's like Taylor Swift shows, where they change into multiple outfits after one or two songs. Whoop, new outfit. He's doing the same. So I thought, he's changing again. Let us enjoy a little bit of the band. But then suddenly he was at the front of house standing on a riser, and he played an acoustic song there from the Killers. And the whole audience know that song. He said something like, yeah, you might not know Beartooth, but you do know this song, so sing along. And I felt a little bit targeted, but okay. But he did that, and the audience joined. All those camera lights up, of course. It was lovely, and then he dedicated a song to his wife, and then he demanded the audience to split up for a Wall of Death, and he walked.
I was reading something about the band and his wife recently. Apparently, he stopped the show because he saw someone in the audience was rude to his wife. I have been reading about that. I thought. Yeah, I think it's not only that, but I think it's also very considerate that he says something about that. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether it's his wife or somebody else. I think it's very cool that he just stands up for that. So
Uh, yeah, I think that is something that was during the whole show. Not exactly the wives, but I think um, it was about being self-aware, putting yourself first, um, showing yourself some love so you can love others, and not. It felt true, you know. I know a lot of those bands say those things because
yeah.
it's kind of fashion sometimes. I don't know. I feel it's more like a
Well,
gimmick or a statement to, but this felt coming from his toes, you know. So I think, yeah, it's also what I liked about the show. But I have to say, with all the show, and I think they can easily go to Arena or something. The show is absolutely fantastic, but it also felt a little bit like the Caleb show.
oh yeah.
And now it might be a little bit hard because there was, of course, there was a lot of pyro, and all the musicians, so to say, were standing behind it, and in the middle there was a little bit of space, and he was standing there. So of course, but also on the same side, you know, all those arena bands, sometimes it is about the singer. So I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it to me, not
Yeah.
knowing the band,
Yeah, I kind of.
I think it wouldn't have been negative if they got a little bit more attention too, like a little bit more solo parts, or but maybe it's not in the music. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a big fan or knowing person about the whole history of the band. But they brought two other bands with them, Polaris and Landmvrks. Landmvrks, they're from France. They started coming on and speaking in French, was I think, when a band honors his own language, it's kind of, you know, I think sometimes it's not an easy thing. I know if you sing metal
Yeah.
in Dutch, that's kind of, I don't know, it sounds funny in a way.
I like it for black metal, but other genres, no thank you.
But this was actually quite cool, and I think they proved that they are worthy. And I saw them. I think I saw them in some lineups from festivals coming up quite high on the bill, and I think they deserve that. They are a little bit younger, I think. They mix a little bit more like hip hop with metalcore. And I think they got the whole audience straight to the high energy levels and straight to circle pit, straight to. So I think they did a really good job. I quite enjoyed them. A little bit different. And then Polaris came, and that was also different, which I liked about this evening. They were totally different kind of styles of metalcore. Like Beartooth was actually the more pop entertaining metalcore, and then Landmvrks was more the hip hop, and Polaris was more the, I think they were flirting, I think, with metal, deathcore. Yeah, there were like growls and they were harder at some point. So I quite enjoyed that as well, and they had also so much energy. So I think people went home completely tired. In a good way, you know. Yeah, it was a really good show. From the lineup was really good. I think the diversity in the bands.
Oh, that's great to hear. I actually have a little bit of news on Landmvrks and Polaris, because I noticed this week that they are announced for the Yera on Air Festival 2025. So people who are interested in these bands, I can recommend to check out the lineup, because the rest of the lineup fits really with those bands, I think. So yeah, that's good to hear. These bands will be returning to the Netherlands for a show next summer.
Nice. I also saw
Yeah,
Polaris is
true.
doing Tuska, I think. We love Tuska, so
Yeah.
and also not that, you know, as a little band, but more
true,
band, so to say. Not the highest of highest, but so
You're going strong.
Nice.
All right. The next show we're gonna talk about is one that we ended up being there together, and that's so nice. Yay! Yes. I think what was it? A couple episodes ago, I was talking about the new Dark Tranquillity album. Yeah. And I remember saying, "Oh, you have to listen to it." Yes. And you were like, "The next episode." "No, I haven't had the time to listen to it yet." And I was like, "Yeah, you should." and even off podcast, I bothered you to listen to it. Now we were there together at that show, seeing that band, and also Moonspell, Wolfheart, and Here Is. That was really nice. I think let's start at the beginning. I already said quite some words about that in my review on the website, but Here has had a bit of sound issues. I think from the very first song, I was like, "Ooh, this sounds like a really blurry mix of sound coming towards me. Like, what's going on?" But that got a little bit better. I must say that, but we cannot deny that these vocals were not at the strongest level, so to say. Especially in the clean parts, the vocalist was kind of off a lot. I think it was an issue that she could hear herself very well. Because that's what it looked like. I think a couple times I saw her putting her hand to her ears also. So
a lot of times actually in the first 3 songs.
So that's kind of an indication that she can't hear very well.
Yeah. And then I think somewhere in the middle, she also went to the front of house to sing a song.
No, that's the trend. It's like I think we said that in one of the earlier episodes that it's a trend for a band to get off the stage nowadays. I'm done with it by now, especially in these larger kind of shows. I mean, if you're in a bar, yes, but in I wasn't even able to see what was going on there. But in the end, I saw her walking away, and I was thinking, "Oh, she's going to the side to get her sound fixed," like telling these people, like, "Fix it, can you check?" And then she shows up in the audience, which was not exactly working in her favor in this situation. I think it was worse there. So, that's something.
Really off-key
but
at that
I think
point.
People did like it. They got a little bit of energy going on. And also, I think if you look at the way they had their songs performed, the energy that's in it, the way they structure it, it's interesting enough. So I really like to see them again sometimes to see if a second chance is gonna give me a better show from them. Because I don't think that they're that bad at all. I think it was sound issues.
No, because there were also... because I wanted to say that at some points you did hear like a couple of lines sang on key. Off key, on key, I don't know. But she was sounding good. And then it so I think it was a matter of not... I think... So definitely I hope to see
and I think
how she's doing when she hears herself. Because I think...
I think for her it helped them a little bit is that they don't have that much clean parts. So, like, if you have these grunts and such, that's more forgiving when it comes to that. So I think that helped the band to not be completely ignored by the audience. But I think that they just had a bad night, so to say. Well, that was them. They're from Germany, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, but they are. Up to the next one, the Finnish Wolfheart. Now, Wolfheart, we've seen them countless times. At least I did through the years. Thomas Saukkonen, also known from Before the Dawn, which is Black Sun, Aeon, whatever, all these bands that he's in. Yeah, and it's funny because like Thomas is also sometimes a stagehand at some festivals, so like you see him run around doing management sometimes. I don't know what else he does all the time, but you can be sure that you run into him at some point at least. And I think for me, I've been listening to Before the Dawn for like ever. Yeah, like the last concert from Wolfheart and Before the Dawn was like, I think, October, November last year or so in Beartooth. And at that point, Thomas was saying like, oh yeah, we played like 6 shows here, and who has been at all of them? And I was thinking, yeah, that's me.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and that yet again, I'm not like a diehard fan that listens to this music all the time or something. Like I always enjoy listening it, but it's not something I'm a big super fan or something. It's just always nice and nice to hear. Mm-hmm. So this time they were a little bit in a bigger package. I mean, that's also very nice. I saw most of the times I see them at the smaller stages playing, like even in Finland. That's cozy and atmospheric. That suits them very well. So I was really curious how they would do on such a large stage. I think the both of us were talking beforehand on their their microphone antlers. Because both of us, of course, were photographers for the night. And those things are kind of blocking the faces all the time. I think they toned it down a little bit now, but it helped a little bit that the space was bigger, so you could see a little more. And I think it also looks better to have these things on a larger stage, because it feels more in proportion. Yeah. So I really liked that element on the bigger stage. That really was something that adds to the experience from an audience. For a photography point of view, it's still a little bit annoying, but that's okay. Not everything is done for a photographer, so that's totally fine. Musically, I think in the beginning they were also a little bit looking for their sound to get that right, but it felt like they at least that they got that covered sooner. Like in like a couple tracks, I thought it was totally fine for their sounds. I liked hearing some of their new songs that they were playing, and also how well it fits in line with anything else that they played, the older tracks. Although Wolfheart is, I think the first album was 2013, maybe, if I remember correctly. I think they played some songs of that, and then I figured like, oh that does really play in one line. It could be totally like a song that has been on the last record also. It's so a very consistent set with a couple of musicians who have a lot of energy in their playing, although they're not the most explosive stage act. I think it's more the music itself that brings out the energy, and that works for them. It suits. So I think they did a good show. I'm not sure that they had the biggest audience there today. Somehow it feels a bit more like they have their own audience that came for them, and not per se that Moonspell fans or Dark Tranquillity fans were super enthusiastic about them. But I think it's always like, for them it looked to me like it was a nice to have, and that they were, I think that was a positive surprise for many. They did play a good show and a good set. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed them, and like you said, it's nice to see that when they bring those antlers, and this time they were toned down, but there was enough space
Yeah.
between the antlers for them to come out and show themselves a little bit, which they did. And their show, I think, was the darkest, as most melancholic moodiness, which fits. It was really nice to see. So I think it comparing it to like a show like they did in Baruch, for example, it's really tight. um, so, but I think they did a really good job on a big stage. Of course, they did festivals, I think,
Yeah.
so they know how to
True.
do that. But I think with their toned down performance compared to the others, they do know how to capture the audience, even though they might not be coming to see them. So yeah, I think they did a great job, and I think they might gain a couple
Yeah, I
of new
think
fans
so.
because everybody did seem to enjoy themselves. So
Yeah,
it's really
definitely.
nice.
I think that the Finnish
And like you
forest
said,
is really coming forward. The Finnish darkness in the forest is really something that you feel with their music. But it's like if you never experienced that, never been to Finland, this is a different feel to it. But yeah, good show.
yeah, and one thing I wanted to say, you said something like they played a couple of the older tracks that could easily been played on the new album, but still it
Yeah,
doesn't
true.
sound repeating.
It's
Which I think it's it's not the easiest thing, I think.
definitely.
So well done for them.
Oh, next was Moonspell, and I like Moonspell. Moonspell. I mean, Moonspell's not a band that I'm listening super often, to be honest. But when I do, I always enjoy. Same with Wolfheart, maybe, but like Moonspell has this super long history. I think they're around for 3 decades or something. And what I like about Moonspell is that they can have completely different albums from like different genres, influences, and still make it sound Moonspell and have all these songs from different albums in one set and think like, oh, this is Moonspell, yes. So yeah, I was really curious what they were going to play because they don't have like a studio album out at the moment. It's already been 2022, I think. I have to say that there was maybe 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks ago, some stream that they did with an orchestra. Yeah, and I think that looked really nice. I didn't see the whole show from that, but I heard a lot about it. Yeah, I thought it was super interesting that they did that, and I was wondering if they would do something with that in this show. They did not, but that's okay. I mean, I think it's hard to arrange something like that, even if you take a track with you to do the orchestras. But yeah, in the end, that doesn't matter. I think it was a specific special event that they did. I really like that. I think Moonspell has been doing all these remarkable things here and there that if you followed it a little bit from a distance, you see they always have original ideas to bring. I think they did some album in Portuguese about some Portuguese war or something, and I listened to that album thinking like, yeah, this is very unique, but still, like, you have a lot of people who still gonna listen to this and think like, oh yeah, this is Moonspell, yeah. They can bring that. I think what I like to see, I mean, they did a lot of that, like from Extinct. They played some songs. That album I really like because I reviewed it back then. I interviewed Moonspell back then, and I have good memories to that because, for people who don't know how things like interview go, you meet these people, you have no idea what kind of personality you will meet. Sometimes you have people who are, they make music because that's what they do, but I don't know how I can explain. Let's just say Fernando meeting him is you meet a very intelligent person who's humble and has a lot to say. Is very thoughtful in his way of speaking. So it's just a joy to talk to that man, really. So I really have good memories to that interview. And then they played a couple of songs from that album, and you noticed the entire audience was like crazy for these tracks. That's amazing. So that album was really successful for them, I guess. Of course, also they went back to the alma maters, of course. Alma mater. That's something you cannot not do as Moonspell, I think.
Yeah, well, I have a memory. I think we were there together. Open Air. We saw them there, and what I remember from that show is
I was dancing.
Of course, I think both of us. But anyway, maybe in the photo pit as well. But I think what I remember of that show, that he is quite the frontman is quite theatrical, but without.
Yeah,
he's not trying to do it, you know. He's just him. It comes. Yeah. I think it comes naturally. He's not trying but he draws that sort of.
He's just that. Yeah, he is a performer.
You know? And he, yes, and it's just a joy to watch it. You've been standing in front the whole gig, the whole show, all of the bands, but I've been going around on the balcony and from whatever angle I watch the show, you get lured in. And I think that's, I don't know, I think that's, how do you say that? Something not everybody
it's unique.
Do.
It's definitely something.
Yeah.
So, it was really nice. And I thought it's brilliant that they went together with Dark Tranquillity. Although it felt like they don't have the same kind of audience for some reason. Really. Although, I must say, I mean, I saw people with Moonspell shirts totally liking Dark Tranquillity, but also the other way around. But
and the other way around.
It's kind of a different audience, if you know what I mean. If you look at it, you just know.
Yeah. There was also a different.
Yeah.
There was a different
definitely
in the audience.
That's.
And not that one was better, but it was. I don't know how to explain it, but it
definitely
was
different.
It was both very good, but it was.
It fits together. It makes sense that it fits together musically. Also, both of these bands have been around for over 3 decades, have been very memorable for what they have done. I mean, Dark Tranquillity, we said it last time, also one of the bands that's like really on the founding part of the melodic death in Sweden. So definitely both memorial for what they've done, but different. So it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. But it makes sense.
Yeah, because it were the same people in the audience, you know, standing. So it was. It's kind of funny how a band can create a vibe in the audience. That's the same people,
indeed,
but different.
But I liked Yeah.
I mean.
Well, that means that it's not just a thing that I think. That means that it was right. Yeah, and I think also what I liked about their set is they stayed on the mainly on the more recent side of their music, Dark Tranquillity. Of course, they have the new album which got played, but also I think the other songs were maybe max 10 years old or something. A couple of exceptions there, of course. People are waiting for the old one, the classics, but it's it's like if you have that much music out as a band like Dark Tranquillity, um, how hard is it to keep people happy with the set list? Like, people gonna have such different favorites, and I think yeah,
Yeah.
that is, and I like that. If you look at the set list, that they have a lot of songs that sometimes you hear them too much. Like, if there's a hit that you think, and you look at that list of them and it has been played 2,000 times live, you're like, okay, yeah, I understand. Maybe you just have to because that, but like that's also what you create. Like by choosing the set list for every tour, yeah, you create that too. So I like that they are more like, okay, let's try this song, let's try this song, and it works together well and such. Yeah, and I think I've acknowledged on their previous album and this album compared that they kind of changed a little bit. Like they experiment still with their sound. They bring something different in, not, even though they're not straying too far from what you've known from them. But if you listen carefully, you can see that they have slightly different vibe to it. And that's cool. And I think if you see it live, that it doesn't create a gap or something. Like you can totally feel that it flows naturally. It brings a bit of movement in the set. I think, what was it, 18 tracks or something that they played? 18. Like, that was a long set.
Quite a lot.
So, yeah, I like that. I also like that the frontman Michael's talking a little bit to the audience and calling somebody out for sneak peeking at the set list. Like, oh, somebody has been looking at the set list already.
But it was really funny because he didn't just leave it with that. A couple of songs later, he asked, "Okay, so you know what's up? We're gonna play now."
yeah.
It was correct. It was kind of.
That's true.
I like it when someone does that. You know.
Yeah, I also like it when a band, when they're touring, has a little bit variation in the set list. But I think if you have to play 18 tracks and you have to rehearse and you go on tour, then it might not be possible to change too much around. I can imagine that. But yeah, I thought this was a good answer to that.
I think it was the 5th day.
Yeah,
so
maybe
they will swap it, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, true.
As well, you know.
Well, I like it.
I think
I just like it when there's some bands that have like different set lists every night. Yeah, but I think it's easier to do if your set is like 10 songs than when you have a set that's 18 songs, because it's not just learning the song; it's all the arrangements that they have to make, the show, the lights, the I don't know, the visuals, everything. Mm-hmm. So it's not just changing a song. It's not that easy. So you have to keep that in mind as well, I guess.
I also liked it that Moonspell enjoyed themselves, but I think with Dark Tranquillity, I think with Moonspell I had more fun watching the audience, and with Dark Tranquillity I had so much fun watching the band members.
I can imagine.
They seem to have such, I don't know, if you, I'm one of those weird people that watch people's faces and just the whole song I just watch. It's so kind of funny to see how they pull faces when they play their instruments, but also how they watch the audience, watch each other. I think that for me, it's I like to do that sometimes. And with them, they had such a good time together, and the Michael seemed to have such a, I don't know, it seemed that he got a really energy from the audience, interacting with the audience, and how do you say it, fist bumping to people in the audience, like, hey, you and wow, you, and think it
Yeah.
was. I liked it. I liked the show. They have not like. When I was standing at the balcony, you see
Yeah.
their stage is quite empty. There's not much on the stage, but they fill it with their
Yeah.
who they are.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
it's
true.
weird to say, but not per se like the Moonspell guy. He is charismatic. He is theatrical, and Dark Tranquillity is not like that.
Entertaining in a
But
different
it's
way. Yeah.
I yeah, but it fits with the music as well. It's and like the theatrical fits more with the Moonspell. That's kind of funny too. Maybe that's also the
I
difference
guess, I
in the
guess.
vibe in the
But I
audience.
do like if you see Michael, he's always like having a big smile on his face. He's really enjoying what he is doing.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it.
Mm,
Yeah.
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 I liked the whole evening. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I saw 4 bands which were totally different from each other but have so much in common as well. So I think this was really a night that I will remember at the end of the year. Maybe they'll reach my top 5 even. We'll see. Stay tuned for that.
Yes.
All right, I think that's all for me to talk about this show. Now, yesterday evening, I did go to see a couple bands in my city where I live. They have a festival called de Dag van de Achterhoekse popmuziek, which translates in English to the day of the pop music of this area. And yeah, I think you could see in different cities, you could see bands play from here in this area. And I stayed only in my own town. It was an easy night. I was not working for Templars, but for someone else. So I had an easy night. I could go to a couple shows that I was interested in. First band I will mention. I did see a couple that I won't mention because they're not even close to metal. Or at the level that I want to discuss their performance. But yeah, the first band, I must say, I've seen them before. I saw them play also last year in the same festival. And the drummer is a co-worker from me in the imaging company that I work at. So yeah, I popped in. I didn't see the whole set. They're called Grease Pit Gringos, and they have a bit of the pop music rock, more like surf kind of vibe. The vintage microphones. They're wearing dungarees, so it's really like that. Bit of an older audience, of course. Yeah, it was fun. I must say I didn't like being in the audience that much because everyone was bothering me when I was taking pictures. One was like handing me a sun cap from somebody else's camera, and then I was like, no, it's not mine. And they were like forcing it upon me. So I just at some point grabbed it and put it in my pocket. I'm like, yeah, mine are stuck to my camera, so it's not mine. But thanks, I guess. I left it at the bar before I left because I was like, this is not mine. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And then there was somebody who thought it was extremely funny to take a picture of me taking a picture and then show it to me. I'm like, yeah, great. What am I supposed to do with this? It's on your phone. Nice. Yeah, it's like
on Instagram.
Somebody with a phone who's like, oh, there's a photographer. Let's take a picture of her. Okay, cool. Now, thanks. Stop. Let me do my job. But it's like, yeah, I wasn't feeling my best yesterday also. So I was like, let me just take my pictures and get the out of here. Really. Yeah. So that was that. I mean, the band itself got really the people going. Like there was some dancing, people were jumping around. So yeah, I think they like to be in the smaller club scene a little bit, having fun with it, not going too serious. I remember that the drummer said he doesn't want to play shows every week. So yeah, it's just a fun project that they play with. Sure. Cool. So it was nice to see that. After that, I headed out to the bar that I see bands more often in my town, and they had this band called Bad Cassette. Um, yeah, they had a book with the lyrics in front of them, and I'm not a big fan of people doing that, you know. uh, yeah, a bit older people. I thought it would be like one of those typical starting bands with youngsters in it, but there were actually some older people doing that. Vocalist had a good voice. Probably needs to have a lot of experience to maintain it through a song and through the whole set, because it was really with ups and downs. She has a really great voice, but to keep it at that level the whole time, she was struggling with that. But I guess they're just starting with this, and maybe at some point, if they all rehearse a bit more, play a bit more, I think she will get that straight. So then the last band, I completely forgot their name. I saw them for 5 minutes and I was thinking, no way. You keep practicing, people, but not with me. And I ran out of that place so fast. Like, yeah. The thing is, last year at the festival, I was maybe a bit more lucky with the selection I had to go to. I mean, a lot of these people are doing the starting bands, having the first chance to play in another city, basically a neighboring city usually. So yeah, I like to see that. I like to see starting bands, but I was a bit unlucky yesterday, I guess. I think the band from my coworker was probably the best that I've seen all evening. So Grease Pit Gringos, they were called, if you want to look them up. Yeah.
Yeah, they sound like fun.
And that was it for this 2 weeks of us. I think next we go to one of the albums that we've been listening to. And it's called Shattered Hope. And the album is called Memoir. And yeah.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
What do I think of it? The album has 3 songs, so it's like an album.
Yeah, an EP.
EP. How do you pronounce that? Say that. But there's the 3 songs are. I think they're all around the 10 minutes. So I have to say it's not my music. I did this time. I didn't read into the band, like the history or anything. So I just put it on and just listened to it. And I think that if I heard them play in a venue, I would listen to half a song and then got a beer. But I have to say, I would get my beer, turn around, and keep listening to the band. So I wouldn't walk away. Definitely not. But it's not my jam, so to say. But there were interesting parts in the music. The growls were like really sharp. I really like those. The structure of the song for 10 minutes. It flowed nicely. There weren't like weird changes or moments where they really lost me. So I think that's good. They're, it's a doom band. So they have a lot of atmospheric melancholy in their songs. I like that too. They bring it. They perform it beautifully. I think they build nice soundscapes. In the 3rd song on the album, it's a cover, and it's called Le Himonas. I think there's like a little piano note. I think it's just one note that
Yeah.
keeps coming back, but it makes the song very interesting, but not overruling. So, but it's a cover, so they didn't write it, but they performed it very well. I think I have never heard the original, but this one was mm, very nice. Um, but I have to say, I only listened to all the songs twice. Um, so maybe this is one of the albums that need to grow on you. Because I think there is happening a lot in the music, in the different layers, in building up the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think when I was listening to this album, I was like, what kind of genre do they say that they are? I'm not sure. Because it felt at some point a bit doomish. Then I felt more going to death. And then I'm like,
mm,
I don't really know what you guys try
yeah, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
bring to me right now. What is it? Like, do you have a specific, yeah,
Yeah, they
and
switched.
that's all fine. I mean, I like it when there's not specifically one label on it, but it felt like
Mm-hmm.
too far apart, not like an organic growing into it or something.
Mm,
So, but that's sometimes what happens with EPs. Like if you have an whole album, that's usually you get a bit better line. Um, so for me, that made it a little bit hard to follow what they were aiming at. What kind of fans would they try to attract with it? Uh, I think that's one question I had when I was listening to these tracks. I like the doomier parts, but on the same time, I think they weren't original enough for me to stand out, like to really grab me.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
then on the other hand, I was thinking, okay, I do hear potential for them because they seem to like a bit of the experiments a little bit. And if you have a whole album where they put everything in line, I think it comes out a bit better for me. When you can really also you have more time to really sink into their sound if you listen to the whole album. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I think that they do have potential. I think that sometimes I would, if I would be them, I would like to have a little that bit more of melodic into it. I think that would really like give a little bit more shape to their sounds and like really that you think the moments you are like, oh hey, that's a head turner, you know. Uh, so I
Mm-hmm.
think yeah, if they that would be something, or they have a whole album, I think I would like to listen to them again. But for now, this EP was a bit mixed up for me. I It's hard to grab what they are.
Yeah, I think they. Hmm, I think if they do a whole album, they do need to have a little bit of variation in it. Like you said, they have to put a little bit of melodic up, or
Yeah,
moments of building up, a little bit more of climaxy things, because now it kind of felt
yeah.
for me a little bit doom in the doom. Just
Yeah, but also something that simply ties it together, all of it, to make it one yeah,
yeah, yeah,
cohesive
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
product, so to say. But yeah, I think it was nice to get to know them with an EP. But yeah, perhaps I'll check them out again if they have something larger out to see what they can do with that. Okay, well, looking at the time, I mean, I did write something about one other album that I didn't have time to type out a review of. But I think I'll keep that one for the next, because there's some other topics we need to discuss
Mm-hmm.
on the news side. And I think we could start a little bit by the
Yes.
topic of earplugs. And why do I came to this topic? I need to tell you a little bit of a backstory. First of all, I grew up having a mother who had hearing issues. She could hear, but not very well, so she had the hearing aids. I always known her that way, so I know how incredibly annoying it is when you cannot hear very well. For her, it does not have anything to do with music. It had to do with ear infections and the many surgeries that she had to do with that. But the result is the same: bad hearing. Then I heard, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, that at my imaging work, we have an office band there. And one of the band members apparently now has a constant beep in his ears after the rehearsals for that band. That's something he will never be able to get rid of. That will be there forever. And that made me really think, like, I joined this company, like, what was it, 3 years ago almost, and I ended up organizing the Christmas party the first year that I came there. We had the office band playing there, so as a good host as I am, I figured, okay, I'll walk down to the production and take this huge bulk of earplugs we have standing there, because people can come and take one when they were playing, because, you know, we're playing in a canteen, low ceilings, glass, a lot of sound coming to you. Yeah, that might not be the best. So I put that box down there, and first of all, the entire band came to me and fell over me, like, oh, we're not that bad. And I'm like, no, but I don't want... That has nothing to do with it, you know? And I was thinking, like, okay, I thought this was more common, that musicians are very aware that hearing is a great part of being a musician. So I ignored it. I think only one of the band members really understood. That's the same one I was talking about earlier. In any way, a lot of the other colleagues who are not really regular concert goers were kind of a little bit joking about it as well. Like, oh, they must be so bad that you want to offer this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. If you go to a concert, that you have to protect your ears, especially when you're playing in a canteen with low ceilings, not a place that's made for music. A lot of glass with resonating, which will resonate the sound. So yeah, I don't think anyone in that evening bothered to put earplugs in other than me. Then I had my own, of course. I didn't use those cheap ass thingies, but yeah. Now I hear this story and I'm thinking, like, okay, people, maybe now you understand why I'm pulling out the earplugs, why I offered them. I mean, it's everyone's choice to use them or not use them. That's for everyone to decide. But maybe now you have a little bit of an understanding how important it is to protect yourself, because this guy will not be able to get rid of that beep in his ears anymore for the rest of his life. Every day, every moment, every second, when he's sleeping, he can't sleep anymore because he keeps hearing it. Yeah, I mean, like... Yeah, but, like, I mean, seriously, how hard is it to, like, protect your ears, especially if you're a musician, and well, they're not full-time musicians, of course, but, like, do you understand that hearing is kind of influencing the way you perform? Like we had with the Hira's like, she couldn't hear herself and she completely messes up her vocals. Hearing is so important. Yeah. And you, as an audience member, would you really want that concert where you went through the local bands that played in the bar, or the office band that played at your Christmas party, be the cause of you having to listen to that beeping sound for the rest of your life? Only because you didn't want to protect your ears? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
How?
Me neither. But I also don't understand band members that in the past refuses to put in earplugs and then pumping up their monitors. Yeah, because I need to hear myself. And then they're half deaf, and then they're putting up the monitors even more because they're half deaf, and then the rest of the band is going to get half deaf.
I'm just...
Yeah. You know, and that beep is so
fucking
annoying, I think. I can only imagine. I don't hear a beep, but sometimes you hear your when when you're asleep and you're I don't know, you're putting your pillow against your ear, and sometimes you
Yeah.
hear your heartbeat.
Yeah, that's
I find that really annoying. So imagine hearing a beep.
stop heart. You have to just tell your heart to stop beating. You know. Can I switch it off? Yeah.
But why would you not wear earplugs? It's not, it's not like you be uncool if you have something in your ear. Nobody actually notices it.
Yeah.
Something in
I mean,
ear, I think. I have to say I still have to get measured earplugs myself because I'm going to gigs more frequent now than the last years. But I'm willing to pay for that, so they will stick really well. Because I also noticed that I get deaf when I have my earplugs.
Yeah,
in,
okay.
Of course, how cheaper they are, how broader they filter out everything, and then if you get really expensive, they filter out the bass. They get lower, but the if you talk to someone, you can still hear them. And I noticed that.
Yeah, guilty.
Because I don't want. I sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
Just leave them in because it's
I think I was even doing that. I think I was even yelling at you in FNR this week. I felt my.
I don't know.
I felt my throat. I felt my throat. I was like, "Oh, I'm screaming too loud now." Yeah. True. But like in the end, I mean, as photographers, we are also very often, especially at festival, we are like literally standing next to the monitors. But who are made to have the sound reach an entire festival grounds. And that's what we are like literally standing next to. I mean, I think, was it one of the Stonehenge? They had a small pit and many people going in, some crowd service. So I ended up next to the speaker, like literally with my ear next to a speaker. I was like, holy, this is not going very well. I was so happy that I had the strong earplugs that I have. I personally very often use the Alpine Music Safe Pro. For me, they work brilliant, and also I don't dare to spend the bigger ones, because I'm very good at losing stuff. So that's why I prefer these ones, and I buy new ones. Yeah. But I kind of buy new ones almost every year, just to make sure they stay up to a good quality. And they come with different filters, so you can play around with that as well. I think I actually have in one of my packages that I often keep, I have two. One of them even carries two different ones. The ones who go filter out the highest and the middle one, I think. So I can change if I move a bit more to the back, for example, if I want to. I think those. I mean, I've experimented with some other ones, but I always come back to this ones. I like them, and they also are available in black, which is a definite pro as a metalhead. Yeah. But yeah, I think it just surprises me how people are, 2024 are still like so against that. Like, what the hell? I was thinking people would kind of normalize this by now. So, yeah, that. Also, you could argue that festivals and venues could lower the amount of decibels. That's also a thing, of course. I don't think it should be all the visitor who wears earplugs, because in the end that is indeed a bit strange that you need to do that. If you look at it that way, they could also lower it a little bit, but that's not the case. So you better be safe than sorry. If you don't want to damage your ears for life, you better look into that. I think I got that off my chest. I needed to tell people that. All right, I think we had another. Yeah,
What do we get from this?
yeah. I think we have one more topic that we were going to discuss, and that was more your thing. So I let you introduce that.
Yes, so I read in the Netherlands, I think Ghost is announcing their, what is it, European tour or a couple of gigs, I don't know. I'm not a Ghost fan, but I saw this. And Ghost is one of those bands, and they're not the first. They will make you put your phone into a little bag. So they make the gig phoneless. And it's kind of, I saw it, I think it was on Facebook, the whole comment section, you know. So I think it's kind of funny, and it's kind of funny to read people's opinions about it. And I understand a couple of the reasons why people do like it, but I also understand from the band's perspective to deny phones, because, and I know, like last Wednesday we were standing in the crowd and not in a photo pit, and I was standing with my phone with my camera up, and then I'm blocking the view from people behind me. I understand, but in front of me there was like everyone is standing up with the camera in the air. So I, to get a good shot, have to get over that with my camera. And there's so many people just watching the whole concert through the screen of the camera.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it wasn't too bad lost for that show, but...
No. But
I know what you're saying, but on the other side, who are you to decide how I enjoy a festival, like, or a show?
Yeah.
If I'm not bothering other people by taking a picture with your phone, like, come on, like.
Yeah, a picture.
True that.
Filming the whole, or watching.
True that.
Through your phone, and then if you're standing on row 50 and everybody in front of you is keeping their phones up, blocking your view, I can understand.
Yeah, I totally do.
That some people find it irritating, but on the other hand, I also, people saying, yeah, but I like to film a little bit, I like to have some photos, so when I get home I can relive the concert, and I can understand that too. I mean, it's one of the parts that I like to enjoy, taking photos of bands, not only to take photos, but also in a couple of years I like to flip through the images and think, so I can totally understand that.
It's an interesting topic, so to say. I do think it's a bit strange that you go around people's property like that, especially.
Well, I believe you don't have.
No.
You have.
But still.
You put it in a bag, and if you have an alarm or something, people can contact you. But it's more like to prevent people watching the whole show.
I know. I understand that concept, but I still don't think it's cool that people decide that for you. That way, especially since the phone is such an important thing in society nowadays. I think I'm not completely against it, but I'm not also very pro on it. I don't know. I haven't made up my complete mind.
It's same here. Like I said, I can understand why people like to do it. I can understand why people like to not have phones there. So yeah, it's yeah.
As long as people are considerate of others, I think it should be totally fine to have a picture or a small video taken. Really, just don't film the whole concert, please. Then that's I think my main conclusion of that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Just, take a few pictures, take a video, short. Like a 1 minute or something, but not like
true.
3 songs.
True that. All right, that topic done. Let's go to the Ikigai then, I guess. What makes us happy? Well, I have one. The foreshadowing video got out this week. Oh my gosh, you people! I don't think we ever had a video going up in views that often, that goes that fast. Like, I woke up the day after. I literally woke up the day after that it got online, like less than 24 hours, and it was already over 3,000 views. I was like, whoa, what? I made what is it, in Instagram, a reel, and I think it was almost 7,000 views. I'm like, what? People really like that? It's like less than 24 hours. How do people love this already so much? Wow, I really like that. Yeah,
Nice.
so cool. Yeah, I still see it going up. Of course, in a slower pace. It's usually the first days are the best. So yeah, that made me really happy because I really like this band. I think we had a very good conversation about their album. And that's really nice. I must admit, sometimes with Italian bands, it's really hard to get a story out because of English being a thing. Yeah. But these guys, I mean, I've known them for a very long time. I think before their first album came out. So I've done several interviews with them. It was good to talk with them. That I think that helps also for creating a more relaxed vibe. And yeah, it was really nice to have this conversation with them about this album. So if you haven't had the chance to check it out, it's on our YouTube channel. Have a look. And what made you happy then? Yay!
Wednesday. That made me happy, and I'm very much looking forward to Saturday. Coming Saturday, I'm going to Eldorado, and I need a little bit of you guys' help with deciding what to see, because there's a few bands that I really like to see and cover, but there's also two bands playing at the exactly same time that are Zeke, if I pronounce that right, and John Coffey. They play at exact the same time, so maybe you guys can help us out and vote for me. And then at the beginning of the day, there are a couple of bands like From the Crypt, Burnout Boys, Black Lavite, Cobra the Impaler.
Yeah.
We've known them, we've seen them. Tankzilla, I've heard good things about them as well. And the Baboon Show. They're all playing like shorter sets, playing one starts when the other one is still playing. And also within like 15 minutes after each other, so I don't have time to
Time-wise, that doesn't work. Yeah.
Photographing 3 songs, walking to the other area where they play, it doesn't work. So I have to make a decision, and yeah, I will.
Yeah, let's do that.
Thingy. So maybe it's this or that with Zeke and John Coffey, and maybe
A voting thing.
The just a voting thing for the other ones in the beginning. Which one you think?
Yeah, let's do that. We can do that.
And help
Elvira figure out what you want to see. Okay. Yes, let's do that. Yeah, I'm curious what the audience will bring. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, last thing, our playlist. And I must admit that I will not be able to talk too much about my playlist because most of the bands I've been listening to are bands that I am interviewing for my December project. Yes, I think I've announced already a little bit before to our podcast listeners that we will be back with the Christmas Advent. So 25 interviews in 25 days, or maybe 24, and a Q&A with me again. We'll see, because it's crazier than store-bought pesto. Yeah, that and yeah. So I think maybe only one band that I will mention because I was planning to talk a little bit about them on this show. That it's Achterhoekse. It's a band where the singer of Bloodhouse Noord is in, and Bloodhouse Noord is one of my favorite black metal bands, I guess. So I figured I should try it out. They have the theme of the kami Japanese Shinto tradition. And since I was just in Japan, that's very much alive with me, I guess. So you hear lots of percussion, Japanese instruments, and that. So I was listening to that. My further opinion and story will maybe in the next episodes, if we have time for that. After all the talk that Elvira will have about Eldorado. So yeah, I think I have to leave it at that without spoiling you about the interviews that I will come up with. So I can only tell you this one right now. And this one will not be interviewed because this band probably doesn't do that. Oh yeah.
Well, nothing new, actually. Well, no. Well, actually, I've been listening to bands I've saw the last couple of weeks, the last months, and going to watch. You know, there's been Dark Tranquillity, there's been In Flames, there's been Soilwork, there's been Duel, Graveyard. So, yeah, sometimes I'm a bit boring, I think, listening to the same.
Ah, but that's a music journalist life.
But I'm also, I've also been thinking already about best album of the year.
Yeah.
Which is coming up, of course. And I have a few that I have not listened to yet. That's been out like last month or the month before that I have not checked because I'm listening to all those things I already know and enjoy. So I think Nothing More has an album out, and so there are a couple of other bands that have albums out that I have not checked yet. But I might surprise you with my best of.
Curious.
Yeah, leaving it to unclear.
We'll wait for a couple more weeks and episodes, and then we will know. We have still some time. If there's any band having something coming out that Elvira will like, so you can still send it to her if you want to reach her top 5.
Or the last, or that has been out since February and I have not listened to it, and you think it's something I would like. I mean, by now you should know what's more like Sabina's kind of
yeah,
my type of music, I think. So if you think there's something I have not heard about and you think I should check it out, please drop it in the comments, and I will give it a listen.
Let's stick it with that. Nothing more for me to say. It's most likely that I won't see any gigs in the upcoming 2 weeks because I have a lot of other stuff planned, a lot of interviews, a lot of work for other companies that's going on. But after that, I might have something coming up already in my calendar. And well, next episode, you will hear a lot about Eldorado, I guess. And yeah, that's it for now. Check out the socials. Check out the interview with the foreshadowing. Check out the reviews. Help Elvira decide on her schedule for Eldorado. And yeah, check in on us the next time again. That's it for today. Bye!